if you're laying in bed, in your comfy bed that you made, that you picked out, that you created to be your oasis, enjoy it. Like, don't worry about anything else that's going on. You're in the moment now. Your body needs its sleep. So focus on that. Focus on how comfortable you feel. Focus on how safe you are. And don't worry about the next day.
We're excited to welcome Patti Read, certified family sleep coach and founder of Goldilocks Sleep Solutions, to the Modern Therapy Podcast. Patti helps people of all ages tackle sleep struggles that impact daily life. Sleep and mental health are deeply connected. Those with insomnia are about 10 times more likely to develop depression and 17 times more likely to develop anxiety. Today we'll explore how improving sleep can boost mood, emotional regulation, and overall well-being, from toddler bedtime battles to chronic adult insomnia. Well, thank you for joining us today. Yeah. Today we have Patti Read. She's a certified family sleep coach from Goldilocks Sleep Solutions, right?
I love that name.
That's awesome.
It's so good.
Thank you.
So we're excited for this conversation. Sleep is so important to mental health, overall well-being, and we are excited to dive in and kind of see how to improve your sleep, you know, what can go into just getting a better night's sleep. And so welcome to the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Yeah. So I'd love to just start out by asking you, what is a certified family sleep coach?
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of people, there's a confusion. It's getting more wide known now. But a lot of people get confused. They think I do like sleep testing. And
okay.
Like when you go to like a sleep study, but it's not like that. I work one-on-one with families or teenagers and adults to get them better sleep. So almost kind of like the idea of like a life coach. I take in like details about what they've been doing and we work on improving it. I see where I think they could improve, and then, you know, as far as pediatrics, I give them like specific techniques and like ways to do it. And that's where like I kind of like play with the idea that for pediatrics, I'm more of like a consultant. I'm a pediatric consultant because I'm dealing with the parents and then they're doing the work. Whereas when I work with an elementary school or a teenager or an adult, I'm working directly with the person who is in charge of doing the work. So they have to put in the work themselves. So there's kind of like that little difference. But yeah, I just believe sleep is so important that if you're struggling and not getting the right amount, that we should do something about it, and we should find your solution.
Yeah, I think it's so underestimated how much sleep impacts you.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, it's so easy to put it on the back burner and like fill your day with other things that you think are more important. But at the end of the day, it's all connected. And if you're not getting the sleep, then everything else starts getting affected. Yeah, and you're not able to, live your best life and, accomplish the things that you are looking to get done.
Yeah. I mean, as therapists, that's always like, a front question is, how's your sleep, right?
What does sleep look like? Yeah.
How many hours are you sleeping a night? What are you doing for sleep? So.
Yeah. What got you so interested in sleep?
So, I mean, I've always been interested in it, really. Growing up, I have an older brother and a younger sister, and I was always the early bird. So I always liked going to bed. I always woke up early. My brother and sister would stay awake late into the hours of the night, and then they would also wake up later. It was always a thing. We always talked about it. My parents are the same way. My mom is the night owl. My dad is the early bird. So it was always there in the back of my mind. But then once I had my third son, I found that a lot of my mom friends were coming to me with questions, just in general, because it was my third child. I've kind of been around the block by now. And the majority of the questions were all about their sleep, the baby's sleep. And I would find myself like texting back and forth with moms all the time. And these were just my friends. So it was just strictly off of my experiences. And I, in my heart of hearts, like I always knew I wanted to be in the service industry and I wanted to help people. So that's where I was like, you know what, maybe I should, get more education on this so that I can give them something that's not just my personal experience and, start helping more than just my friends. So that's what I did. I went and I got my pediatric sleep consulting certificate, started Goldilocks, started my business. And then just so many people, because the name is Goldilocks Sleep Solutions and doesn't say anything about like babies specifically, I would have people coming up to me when they would see my business name and be like, oh, what's the solution? Like, how can you help me with my sleep? I'm a terrible sleeper. Like, and they were adults and they were like elderly people. And, you know, or they would talk to me about their teenagers. And I felt bad because I'm like, and actually the people I felt the worst for was I would work with a family and we would get their little ones sleeping. And then they'd be like, okay, great. But now I'm still not sleeping.
Aww.
So like, now what do I do? And a lot of the things there are a lot of overlaps. So the people that I did work with, I'd be like, listen, what did we just do for your child? Like, you know, we made sure their screen time, we cut off their screen time. We, you know, had a regular routine for them. These are things that you can also do and see if it helps you. But then I decided that, you know, there was a bigger need and I needed more education for adults and teenagers and elementary school kids. So I went back and I got another certification and now I can help all ages.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are the differences between, you know, kid sleep and adult sleep?
So pretty much with babies and toddlers, which is where a lot of people, that's where my job really is becoming more familiar and people are more aware of, you know, a baby coach, a baby sleep consultant. Because sleep is so changing for babies and toddlers.
Yeah.
Like for a baby from newborn to year 1, they'd go through so much change in their minds. They're changing so rapidly that, you know, as soon as you think you got the sleep thing down and you're like, oh, the baby's sleeping, like 4 months hits and then all of a sudden it's not happening anymore. And it's hard to keep up because there's not an actual manual that says like, at this day, the baby's going to be doing this. At this day, the baby's going to do this. Because we're not robots. So every little one's different. And you can't, like, just strictly go by, like, reading something in a book, unfortunately. So I just think with babies and toddlers, it's a lot about me helping, like, educating the parents on, you know, this is when something might be going on in their brain. They might be going through a milestone right now, which is affecting their sleep. Their sleep needs have changed, which is a huge thing. The amount of sleep, which it's kind of easy, like when you think about it, to see. Newborns, which is where the term comes from, sleeping like a baby, can sleep around the clock, no matter where they are, like a busy restaurant, they could be sleeping. But then, you know, when they get older, they no longer sleep everywhere. But also then it becomes more kind of structured. So they go from napping all day long, little cat naps, then they go down to 3 naps and a certain bedtime. Then all of a sudden their sleep needs changes and it goes from 3 naps to 2 naps and a certain bedtime. Then again, within that, you know, first 2 years of their lives, they go from 2 naps to 1 nap. And then there's a lot of differences on thinking of when that last nap should be dropped, which is a big issue for a lot of my clients. So that's really, I think, the main crux of baby and toddler sleep and getting the knowledge of what's going on for them when and how much they should be sleeping, when they should be sleeping. On top of the fact that we as parents lovingly tend to overhelp, and then the babies are left and they're kind of confused and don't know how to do it on their own. So then when the parents decide that they no longer want to be rocking them for all hours until they're asleep, the baby just doesn't know what to do then. So that's where, you know, some of the techniques I have to teach the baby how to self-soothe, that's where that comes in.
Yeah.
For elementary school, teenagers, adults, it's a lot more about their daily lives and what they're doing to kind of sabotage their sleep that I try to work on. And then also giving them tools on what to do when they're not sleeping that they could utilize, like things like that. It's more just adult sleep and teenager sleep has so many more variables going into it. It's not really like, oh, the baby needs to sleep at these 3 times and they need to learn how to sleep on their own. It's more, you know, what's your diet like? What's your exercise like daily? What's when are you drinking caffeine? Are you drinking alcohol? Things like that. So there's just a lot more that goes into it for adult and teens.
When you're going through adults and you're talking about these things that affect their sleep, what do you think is the most surprising thing to them that you bring up?
So a big myth is that alcohol and THC are a good sleep aid, and they're not. They might initially help you sleep, but sleep in general, it's not just about the quantity, it's also about the quality. So alcohol and THC tends to disrupt your sleep throughout the night, and you might not even notice it. And it also disrupts the amount of the deep sleep, deep restorative non-REM sleep, and then the REM sleep, which is your dreaming state. And both of those states each have very, very particular and specific benefits that does for our brain and our bodies. So if you're lacking either one, your life is going to be affected by it. So alcohol usually tends to break up your sleep throughout the night. THC affects your REM sleep. So that's I think the biggest kind of myth floating out there right now is that alcohol, I'll just drink a glass of wine and then I'll be able to sleep better. And you might be able to fall asleep better. Yeah. But it's not even really like sleep. It's more like you're just sedated.
So it's possible to just get like 8 hours of sleep and wake up and not feel rested.
Right, exactly. So it's not just the quantity, it's also the quality. Which again, like if you don't understand and you don't know what you're looking for, it's hard to figure that out. So you're just thinking like, oh, well, I go to bed at this time and I wake up this time, I should be fine. But it's not always the case.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest symptoms you're seeing from people who don't get good sleep?
The biggest symptoms, I would say, just like, it's hard to say, like, point them out exactly because, again, it filters through and affects everything. Yeah. So, if you're tired throughout the day, you're going to do the bare minimum. Like, yes, you're going to get to work. Are you going to do your best at work? No. Are you going to, like, not be able to pay attention fully? Right. Like, if you had a meeting or someone in high school, if you didn't get a good night's sleep the night before, you're not going to remember your whatever you learned that day isn't going to get consolidated into your brain. So then when it comes time to a test or a presentation for work, are you going to remember it all? Are you going to be able to recall what you were supposed to have saved overnight when you're asleep? And then also just their emotional well-being. Like if you're feeling tired, like I always try to use for some people who don't struggle with sleep, it's hard to really explain to them what people go through. But I try to explain, like, when you're sick and you have the flu and you, like, try to get out of bed and, like, do what you always do, like, that feeling of, like, kind of being in, like, quicksand. Like, everything is harder. Everything is a bigger task than it should be. And when you don't sleep, it's almost like that. It's almost being, like, sick for every day of your life. Yeah. So everything, like, winds up getting affected. But then also, too, like, your actual body could be affected, too. Like, your gut could get messed up, your mental health, like, everything like that, too, besides the things
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're just seeing it through every aspect of your life, which probably, like you said, makes it hard to pinpoint, okay, what exactly is from not sleeping or what could be from something else.
Right. And that's why, like, with my adult clients and my teenage clients, I have them fill out a sleep assessment, and it is a very broad and a detailed assessment. It has to do with their intestinal health. It has to do with their mental health. It has to do with their sleep history. Like I had mentioned before, have you always been an early bird? Have you always been a night owl? Like, is this a new thing? Is there, their daily life? Like, did something new happen within the last year that, now all of a sudden you have more stress lumped on you, or, you have more responsibilities that it's all affecting. So the sleep assessment that I take in before my consultation with adults, it's very broad and it covers a lot, trying to just pinpoint any red flags that, I might be able to see due to my education versus them not understanding that it's all linked.
All right. What are some of the most common things you see on that assessment of like red flags or issues?
So the biggest thing when people come to me, I actually have them to do like a pre-questionnaire too. For an adult to work with me, they really, really have to be committed and want to make the changes. So if they're just, tired throughout the day, but they're not seeing it affect other things, they're usually not ready to work with me. They're usually not pulling the trigger and reaching out to me and saying, I'm ready to, stop my caffeine addiction or, lay off my nightly wine. So I just feel like when I am going through it with people who are actually ready to change, it does have a lot to do with stress and anxiety, and just the anxiety that is attached to sleeping. So when you have an insomnia and you're awake in the middle of the night, first of all, when you're alone by yourself in the dark and you're thinking everyone else in the world is sleeping, it makes it seem like a bigger deal. So a lot of it is just blown up. Like, not that they're not suffering and they're not going through something hard, but they don't realize that it's actually more normal for people to wake up. Everyone wakes up throughout the night. It's normal.
That's something we learned recently, actually, that I didn't, when we started tracking our sleep. Because I was like, I woke up 2 times last night. And he's like, no, that's normal. And I'm like, no, I never did this before. And he's like, no, you did.
But the thing is, like, most people are able, like, we all wake up in between our sleep cycles. It's a biological.
That's wild. I never knew that.
Mm-hmm. And to think about it, like, like in cavemen days, they needed to wake up, make sure that there wasn't a predator coming to get them. They needed to make sure that, the lightning wasn't striking where they're sleeping, things like that. So what with us as adults, normally we control our environment. So we wake up, we know exactly where we are. We're happy with it. There's no threat. So we are able to fall right back asleep. The issue comes is when you can't fall back asleep. Mm-hmm. And that has a lot to do with, our body makeup. So if hormones are off, if blood sugar is off, if melatonin, our sleepy hormone, our cortisol, our stress hormone is off, that all makes it harder to fall back asleep. So those normal nighttime wakings then become a struggle and a problem. But even still, when you're laying in bed and you're thinking the worst things, you're thinking, I'm the only one who's doing this. Tomorrow now my day is going to be ruined.
It's and like a spiral.
It's a spiral, and it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I like to use the metaphor. If you knew, say you were a best man or a maid of honor of your best friend's wedding, you go to their wedding, you stay up a lot later than you normally would. You probably were drinking or enjoying or had an extra big food that a meal that you wouldn't normally. You go to bed. Your sleep is not the best that night, but you wake up the next day and, if you're at the morning after breakfast and you're seeing the bride and groom, you're in a good mood. You voluntarily had a bad night of sleep in order to enjoy your best friend's wedding.
Yeah.
But when you're going to sleep and you're not choosing to be awake and not choosing to have a bad night, then you just are already projecting onto the next day. Tomorrow's going to be awful. I'm going to be cranky. I'm going to be tired. I'm not going to be able to do my work good. And then the next day, you don't have those positive feelings of the good wedding the last night. You think about all the bad things you were thinking about the night before. So it's a lot to do with flipping the script on waking up as normal at night. Your body will sleep when you need to, and getting out of that spiral so that you can get back to good sleep.
Yeah, that's so interesting because it's so true. When you're up in the middle of the night, you are thinking about all of those things, and that spiral does start. So what advice do you give people to kind of stop that spiral and to look at it differently? Not
so much in the moment, but before the moment, before nighttime, I work with them on flipping the script and saying, it is normal. If you're laying there, I am a big fan of mindfulness. And if you're laying in bed, in your comfy bed that you made, that you picked out, that you created to be your oasis, enjoy it. Don't worry about anything else that's going on. You're in the moment now. Your body needs its sleep. So focus on that. Focus on how comfortable you feel. Focus on how safe you are. And don't worry about the next day. So definitely mindfulness is something that I encourage my clients to work on. But also, just flipping the script and explaining to them that, it's normal and it's not 100% correlated. Just because you have a bad night of sleep doesn't mean you're going to have a terrible day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of detaching those two from each other.
Yeah.
Right. I love the term that you used, oasis.
Yeah.
And like, how relevant is the sleep environment, the mattress, the pillows, the linens to getting a good night's sleep?
Yeah, the environment is one of the first things too, like with the assessment too. I'll check the environment. And that's both, this is one that overlaps. So pediatric sleep all the way up to all ages. It's important that the room, so bare bones, it should be like a cave. It should be cool, dark, and quiet.
Love that.
Yep.
But quiet, with the caveat, is white noise. I believe I'm a fan of white noise.
Okay.
Because again, you want your environment to be something that you can control and that you're happy with. And unfortunately, sounds of outside, like sometimes we can't control. So instead, you kind of going back to like cavemans, like if they slept next to like the river and they listened to the river, that's okay. If they slept next to like two owls like hooting at each other all night, like on and off, then that would be disruptive.
Yeah, or like a basketball court.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we live across the street from a basketball court, and so we've lived in our development now for like over 4 years. Love it. Love where we live. But they redid the basketball courts. We first moved in. People used it every once in a while. Wasn't a big deal. Ever since they redid it last year, people are there all the time. They will start games at 10:30 at night. And I'm just laying there like, I just feel like thump,
it's
thump,
bad.
thump.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is with basketball. I'm not a basketball player, but apparently people like to just yell very loudly while they play basketball. And I don't really know why.
Right. Well, if it was
But
just
it's a thing.
the thump like over and over,
I could deal with it.
Right.
It's the
But it's the
screaming. And I just
screaming
like,
and
oh my gosh. So that's when, yes, the white noise will come on. And I'm like, this is too
Right.
much. I
Right.
can't fall asleep.
Exactly. So, and I'm a big component of like controlling what you can and
Yes.
like letting go of what you can't.
Yep.
So if you can like control, like get noise blocking, like picture frames with the foam, and then
Yeah.
you know,
That's a good
adding,
idea.
adding white and adding
Yeah.
in the white noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, you want it cool, dark, and quiet, and that goes for everything, for babies, everyone. But then also for as you get older and the stress factor comes into it, you need your room to be that oasis where
Yeah.
sleep is the main thing. So that's why, besides the whole light affecting your eye and the blue light, like you don't want your room to be, your bed to be associated with anything besides sleep and sexual encounter, like sex when it's appropriate.
When it's appropriate.
So, but yeah, so you don't want to have an association with your
Yeah.
bed to be something else. So if you're doing your work on your laptop in bed, and this goes for high schoolers too, like if you're doing your homework in bed, or if you're gaming in bed, and then you go and you're like, okay, now it's time to go to bed. Your body's like, no, actually, sometimes we do our homework and that's kind of stressful, or we do our work and that's really stressful because then the boss is going to see it in the morning, and then, oh, maybe I should be doing, I have a report tomorrow, so maybe I should actually go get that. And instead of just laying down and saying, this is where I sleep, this is comfortable, this is my peaceful sleeping spot. So you don't want that association. But then also too, like, if you're in your room and you feel stressed because it's overcrowded, or you have the pile of laundry that you didn't do, or you have your homework set out that you didn't do, or like you have a test stress staring at you and it's right there, you want to clear your space where you only feel at peace in your bed and in your room, really. So the environment is huge.
So if you're asking yourself, is my bedroom a peaceful place? And the answer is no, then you need to change something.
Probably some work to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You need to
Yeah.
take stock and, again, like control what you can control and then let go of what you can't. So if you're working, if you only are, in college and you have one dorm room that has everything that you need to do, then try to compartmentalize, or, cover the TV at night, or cover put your homework away. Like, try to declutter as much as you can. But, I'm very, I don't know, like down to earth, and I try to like work with people and be real about it. Like, it's never, there are an ideal situation and I like perfect world, but that's not really what we live in. So you just try to have to do your best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really important because you don't want to set people up to be like, well, you have to have an expensive mattress and you have to, not work in your room. Like some people maybe have their office in their bedroom because that's the space in their house, like things like that. So it sounds like you kind of just meet them where they're at. You're like, okay, here's ideal. And if we can't get there, let's get as close as we can to that. And people probably find that so refreshing.
Well, that's what I love what I get to do is because it's one-on-one. I'm not like, and yes, I do like to do presentations and spread my knowledge to as many people as possible. But when you get to work one-on-one with someone, it's so, I don't know, I find it fun because it's like I have to figure out the puzzle that's going to work for them and work for them. Like, it's exactly like I hate, like, and I say this to parents all the time, like, we're not trying to set them up to fail. We're trying to set them up for success. So if we know for a fact your 2-year-old does not have the self-control to stay in a toddler bed, then they shouldn't be in a toddler bed yet. If your 3-year-old has that self-control and they'll listen to you and they understand, oh, this is my time to sleep and I need to stay in here, then okay, that's fine. But, and it's great because as I work with someone, it's not just one meeting and then we're done. So I give them my suggestions. I take in their feedback back. But then as we go along, and for pediatric clients, it's usually like the younger ones, it's 2 weeks. For elementary schools, it's usually a month. And then with teenagers and adults, it's for 3 months. So it's going back and forth. So if something really is like, if the idea that we first came up with isn't working, they don't have to throw everything out and start from scratch. We're still working towards our goals, and I could tweak it for them. And we could, work with what they have and still get our goal where we need to be. Yeah. And that's like really the big difference with pediatric clients. Like, yes, there are tons of baby books out there, and I've read them all. That was part of my certification process. But when you are a tired parent who is a parent and has the whole new responsibility of this baby, you're reading a 300-page book. You put it into action, and then if that one technique doesn't work for your child, okay, now it's on to the next book. And now you have to read a whole nother 200-page book. And, so it's so nice where I get to work with a family and, figure out specifically what will work for them in their unique situation.
Yeah. I love that so much because it's so different for everyone. And I think, aside from the books, people are just flooded on social media all the time with, every time you scroll, you're seeing something else. Like, I'm co-sleeping. I'm using a snoo. My kid was in a toddler bed at 1 year old. My kid was never in a crib. My kid's in a crib till they're 4. Like, I feel like you just see so many different things. So how do you help parents kind of unlearn or unravel some of those expectations that they've put on themselves for people who some of them are not even sleep experts?
Yeah, it is hard in this world of the Google search and social media. There's information overload, and it's so true. And this is one of the biggest things I struggle with is I'm never going to tell you what you have to do and tell you that what you're doing is wrong. If something's working for you, great. Don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah.
And that's where I work with people who are looking for help. If they are confused on what is right and what's wrong and what's good for them and like I said, I have them fill out a whole assessment. So I get a background information, and specific things I need to cover, but then we go back and forth and they could flat out ask me, be like, oh, I saw this. Oh, my friend said this. And I'll be like, okay, well this, I've seen success with blah, blah, blah with this, but this is the drawback. So what do you do you think that's a good idea for you in your position or not? Or I could just flat out say, I don't agree with this. I've never seen success with this, things like that. And then it's up to them. They're well, I'm still going to do it. And that is because I'm a professional, there are certain things that I can't, if it's not safe, if it doesn't follow the American Academy of Pediatrics, guidelines, I can't be on board with it. But at the end of the day, if you want to do that, it's your child.
You're not going to stop them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So co-sleeping, we suggest it, we don't suggest it. What are your opinions on it?
So that's where that comes in with the American Academy of Pediatrics. for any child over 12 months old, as long as you're doing it safely and that's what you and your family want, I always say it's not a problem until it's a problem. So if you're co-sleeping with your 2-year-old and both partners and the 2-year-old are all getting the right amount of sleep, not like disrupted, then fine, that's great. But if, say, one partner and the 2-year-old are getting sleep, but then the other parent isn't, then that's a problem. And yes, like maybe you still co-sleep with the one parent and then the other one, but you just have to figure it out. Younger than 12 months, the American Academy of Pediatrics just really says that there's no actual safe way. And really at the end of the day, it just comes back to like, there's so much with SIDS that we just don't know. And you just want to err on the side of safe, like caution and safety.
Yeah.
So, is it really worth the risk? That's where I'm at.
It's such a scary concept, SIDS, you know?
It really is. Yeah.
So if anything you could do to avoid it, like that's my idea, is just stay away from it. So they recommend not before 12 months.
Yeah.
And like co-sleeping is actually in bed. So co-sleeping in the bassinet next to the bed is totally fine. As long as both sleep area is safe.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because we would talk about, when we had, both of our babies, in the beginning, I kind of talked about, co-sleeping a little bit. And then we realized, which we never realized before, that I'm an incredibly deep sleeper, which is something you really don't think about prior to having kids. And there would be times just like during naps or whatever, where like the baby would be crying literally in my arms next to me and I'm still sleeping. And like he would come over and like hit me and be like, Cassie, like the baby's up. And I'm like, what? Like,
yeah, it's true.
And so he would be like, our babies are never sleeping in our bed because you would never you would
dangerous.
not hear them. Like you would
Exactly.
sleep like I would sleep through a storm. I don't know.
I get jealous sometimes because I'm like, man, it'd be nice to
And
sleep
it's
that
the
deep.
opposite. So my husband's like that, whereas like but also too, like it's not even necessarily your fault. Like when you have a baby, you're different.
Yeah.
Like your hormones are different. Your responsibility is different. So like you get like that mom brain.
Yeah.
And you're not sleeping. Like
You're exhausted.
You're exhausted.
Yeah.
So when you are exhausted, there are things that like you wouldn't normally do. So even like the most sincere, like loving parents, they could go into the situation of thinking that something's safe and not knowing how their body is actually going to react because it's not what they used to be like.
Right.
So of course, like it's not their fault, but again, like anything you could do to avoid a dangerous possible situation is just the better idea, I would say.
Yeah.
So
you talk to a lot of parents and they have different kind of feedback about how their children are sleeping. Some babies, sleep through the night very early on and give the parents, that full time period. Other parents say that the child's up all night. Obviously not talking about like the newborn phase, but how much of that is nature versus like nurture?
I would say kind of like 50-50. There are just, the easier babies. And I say that by, you could even break it down more. Not just an easy baby, but just there's sensitive sleepers and then there's just, and the same way like you were just saying, like even as adults, we're different. Some people are deeper sleepers. Some people, like I mentioned, my husband can fall asleep immediately even with the TV on. Like he could take a nap in our sun porch with sun blaring, 3 TVs on, 3 boys running all around him, and he could take a nap. And that's
what
just,
a gift.
Yeah. And that's just how he is. So yes, that does equate to some babies. Like some babies are just, the sleep just happens easier for them. But then it also is like setting up the baby for success. So is the environment how it should be? Is it as dark as it can be? Is it as quiet as it can be? Is it cool and not hot?
What's the temperature setting? I'm curious.
For children, it's supposed to be from 68 to 72.
Okay.
For adults, it's supposed to be more closer to 65.
Okay, so we're in line.
We're right in line,
We keep
yeah.
our house like 67.
Yeah.
At night.
Well, exactly. So it doesn't have to be all day.
Yeah.
You just, about an hour or two before bed is when, if you needed to adjust it, then you adjust it. Or put on a fan or open a window or whatnot. But yeah, so it definitely it's a little bit of both. So there are just the kids that are have an easier sleeping, but then there is like, you know, for me even. So I didn't get my certification until after my third child. My second child, so my first child was kind of like a unicorn, and he was just like, he would sleep when I needed him to sleep, and I was a first-time mom. I didn't know any better. I was like, oh, he'll just nap when I need him to. So, you know, like I need to do the laundry now, so it's nap time, and he would just do it. My second one was not the case. He was a very sensitive sleeper, and I thought like that it was him, but I realized now that there are certain times a day that our body needs the sleep, like looks for the sleep. And then that sleep, if that body is happening, if the sleep is happening when the body needs it and is asking for it, it's better. It's better sleep. It's more restorative. It's deeper. So again, like I was trying to have him go to sleep when he just not when his body was looking for it. So it definitely is like a kind of a mix.
Yeah, we can relate to that with our two babies. So when our first baby was born, she really was like, obviously early on as a newborn, she napped, but as she got a little bit bigger, it was so hard to get her to nap. And a lot of times I would just keep her up. I'm like, okay, I put her down for a nap, whatever that means. She's still awake. So now I'm just going to get her up. And I felt like she'd never slept. And now with our second, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that we've learned a little bit, but also she's just such a sleeper. So she's kind of like how you were saying with your first baby. Yeah. She just looks a little tired. She maybe rubs her eyes a little bit, thumb in the mouth, and I'm like, immediately for a nap. And she's 15 months and she's still taking 2 really long naps a day. And I'm like, with my first, the 15 months, she was barely sleeping. Yeah. Even now she's 3. We're lucky if every 3 days she naps. But
a lot of it is looking for the cues too, because now like you know what you have.
Their personalities are so different though.
They are.
But then again too, like kids can be the same way. Some kids just don't show the signs. The signs are not as obvious. Like, you know, a kid, they could go from 0 to 60 pretty much, where, you know, it's really hard to catch the signs. So if you're just like, and this is kind of where like parents again get into the trap, like they get well-meaning advice from people, but they're their own kid's expert. Yeah. So like if someone's just like, oh, we'll just wait for him to show his sleepy signs, and they're like, okay, and they stare at them all day and there's no sleepy signs.
That's like with our first, she never looks tired. And she's even so funny. Sometimes if she does let out a yawn, she'll immediately go, I'm not tired. I wasn't tired. And she knows. Like, I'll be like, you're going out for a nap.
Well, and like that is such a common thing for a 3-year-old. Like, so nap strikes happen. Nap strikes happen starting at 2 and beyond. But that doesn't mean that they're done napping. It's just that they don't think they want to nap, and they might not feel it, or they might not think it's worth stopping what they're doing.
That's exactly what it is. Yep. So, having too much fun.
Yeah. And once they get to be 2 and 3, they know that they are more in control of their bodies. So it's harder to make it happen. Yeah. But if you as a caretaker understand still that they should still be happening, then you're like, so basically if you don't offer a nap, it's not going to happen. Yep. And that's why so many people fall into the trap of, oh, well, they refuse their nap, and then they fell asleep in the car at 4:30, which is actually happening too late, and now bedtime is a disaster too, because their bodies got that little recharge, and then going into bed that's not. So I mean, there are some that are so sensitive sleepers. So my middle child, again, when he was 4, if I put him down for a nap at 12 p.m., he wouldn't fall asleep until at least 1 o'clock.
Wow.
And then bedtime would be harder because he was sleeping later. Right. So again, bedtime, he would be more awake, and that would be more of a battle. And he'd get up a million times and come out and talk to us, and we'd have to walk him back a million times. If I would put him to bed for his nap at 11:45, which from what I was taught in my certification program, that's a little bit outside of when the body like actually needs the sleep. But because I was like so tuned into sleep, I tracked it and I like figured it out. If I put him down at 11:45, he was asleep by 12.
Wow.
That's interesting.
But it's just that he's such a sensitive sleeper. And even to this day, if it's 7 o'clock and we're out, he's yawning. He's like ready for bed. And like my mother-in-law thinks it's so funny. Like she'll babysit and she'll be like, "Oh, Easton put himself to bed."
Yeah,
like
that's how our daughter
Yeah.
is too. It's so funny, and they get so mad if you keep
Oh yeah,
them up
she'll
past their
scream
nap
until we
time.
put her down.
Like if we're out, she's like, "Mom, I need a nap.
It's time for
what
nap.
are you doing?"
yeah, exactly. So like, it's just some kids are very sensitive.
Yeah.
So I mean, I always recommend like tracking it so that you could kind of find that sweet spot for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when do toddlers stop napping? Like, is it 5? Like at what? Because I know preschool, a lot of preschools.
You said this is
still nap.
controversial, right? Yeah.
So it's really not so controversial. It's more just like kind of like a sleep myth floating out there that, you know, if your 2-year-old or 3-year-old stops napping, meaning stops wanting to nap, or stops napping at the time you're having them nap, it's okay. I recommend napping until school makes it stop.
Yeah.
Until it's impossible.
It's like 5. Yeah.
So yeah, around 5. And again, little ones we're not robots, and it's different for everyone. So it does vary, but the thing with naps is our brains when they're young, they're not mature enough to handle the load of the day. Mm-hmm. So that's why when 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds aren't napping, there's meltdowns that happen in the afternoon and evening. And usually dinner is like a disaster for toddlers who aren't napping because their brains are just overloaded. They can't handle any more intake. So they need that break, that nap time in the middle of the day to offload their memories, offload the world that they're and again too, like when I walk around the room, I've maybe never seen this painting, but I've seen a painting before. Yeah. So it's not like my world is blown because of this painting. But a 2-year-old hasn't seen the world.
I was just gonna say, like with everything going on lately, maybe like adults should start taking naps during the day.
I am a huge component for naps. And again, this is a big myth with our society. They see sleeping and day sleeping and napping as like sloth-like, like almost like a sin, like almost like they're lazy. Yeah. They're not productive. They're not. But if you look at some of the most successful athletes, some of the smartest scientists, they nap. They require their nap to have the best performances. So if someone is not struggling, like adult-wise, if they're not struggling with sleep, I'm a big fan of naps.
Interesting.
I have a question for you. What was the culture like in your house growing up? Was it like looked on favorably to like if you slept in on a weekend till 11 o'clock, was that like praised or was it punished?
So again, going back to it, like, so my dad is an early bird and my mom is a night owl. So it was kind of split, and it was neutral pretty much. Like you do you, like, as long as, you know, if we had somewhere to be, like, okay, then you better be getting up and getting dressed and getting ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we didn't have somewhere to go, like, you know, my mom understood what it was to feel like, because it is a very real thing. And again, back to our society, there are certain people that their chronotypes, they are night owls, and it's like fitting like a round peg in a square hole, or vice versa, whatever that saying is. But so if someone's body is naturally a night owl where their melatonin is not kicking in until late, it's hard for them to force themselves to go to bed earlier and then wake up earlier to go to that normal 9 to 5 job. Thankfully, like our society, especially with like working virtually and, you know, being able to work, you know, across the world in a different time zone, there is a little bit more wiggle room for people who really are and know their chronotype. But so pretty much in my family, like, me and my dad would wake up early. I still remember I always getting to pick the cartoons on Saturday morning because my brother and sister would still be sleeping, and like me and my dad would have like special like time where no one else was awake yet, and it just is what it was. But again, because that's my chronotype, now in the world, I find my life is a lot easier.
It's an advantage.
It's an advantage, whereas my brother and sister still struggle to fit into the society where they need to wake up for a 9 to 5 job or something like that. And because of that, their mental health has definitely taken a hit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, we've even heard that, from our therapists before. So all of our therapists work remotely and everything is appointment based. So we've had therapists who have come to us and being like, listen, like I would rather see more people at night than see them during the day. And we had someone recently who was like, can I just not do a 9 and 10 a.m.? Like, she's like, I notice my brain is so much more alert by 11 and I'd rather do like 11 to a later hour than start at 9. And we're like, do whatever's best for you, because if that's, you're going to perform better that way, then of course. Where I think for me, this maybe changed after having kids, but I'm like, I can't do the late night work. Pre-kid, no problem. Like I could work till 10 o'clock at night, fall right asleep after, where now I'm like, by like 8 o'clock, I'm done. I'm done with everything.
well, and so that you bring up a good point. Like, so it is possible to work against your chronotype, and that's where like with kids come in, like you're forced into it. And for better or worse, like you love your child, like you're not just gonna let them toil on their own for the first 2 hours of them waking up. Like you're gonna wake up
maybe for the first 30 minutes or so. But.
No, that's not like,
Until you hear too much chaos. She's in a toddler bed now, so when you hear too much, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. Right. But so like parents, they are forced and they do the hard thing to change their chronotype.
Yeah.
But and another thing you point out, like it's great that in our world, like there are more jobs that are able to be flexible, but the problem is still like is like the weekend jet lag. So if you are working hard at changing your chronotype, but then on the weekend you just let it go, then on Monday you literally are suffering pretty much from jet lag. From if you shift your like staying up awake later into the night and then letting yourself sleep in for pretty much more than a half an hour on the weekends, your body thinks that you're in a different time zone pretty much.
It's so funny you say that, because it's like if you've ever gone through like an extended period of like being really regimented about when you go to sleep and when you wake up, you notice that your body has just a built-in alarm clock. Like you just wake up very easy and naturally, you know, so that makes a lot of sense.
And that's actually one of my main tips is having a regular, consistent bedtime and wake up time. Yeah. So, and again, like I said, within the half an hour. So, if you had to wake up a half an hour earlier on the weekdays versus, and you let yourself sleep in for that extra half hour on the weekends, like that's not going to affect you crazy unless you are really struggling with insomnia, and then you need to be stricter at first. But yeah, keeping a consistent bedtime and wake up time is a huge factor that can help you get the right sleep that you need.
Yeah. There's such a common like topic here, and that's intentionality around sleep. And I think a lot of people just go through life like not even understanding how really truly important it is, and they don't take the time to make it a priority and put the structures in place and design it.
Yeah. And again, like that has to do with like lack of education on it,
right? Or
just the self-will to like do the hard things, like or follow through with like like when it's your child that you need to wake up for, you're going to do it.
Of course.
But if it's, a college course that you hate, like, are you going to do it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many different life phases that you go through that just inherently give you bad sleep too. Like I do think back to college, and I was never someone who was like, I'm going to pull an all-nighter and do my paper. Like, no, I need sleep. But there definitely were nights that we were out really late, and you just think like back then, like, I could be up till 2 o'clock in the morning and then go to a class the next day. And like, I would be fine, but was I really fine? No, like, of course not. I was like,
well, actually, so this is another big myth, and something that most people don't know is when you go through puberty, your circadian rhythm shifts. So even if I was an early bird when I was really little, once I hit puberty, my body wanted to go to sleep later and wake up later. So parents who are just yelling at their teenager because it's, 10 o'clock and they're gaming and they're like, you should be sleeping. Their body's not telling them that it should be sleeping. Now, first of all, if they're gaming and they're staring at a screen, that's also messing up the brain, like confusing the brain, sending it mixed signals. But even if they were just doing their homework, as teenagers, their bodies don't release melatonin, the sleeping hormone, until later. So like you said, it's all about like phases in our lives that we go through different ones, and it's just our body. Like no one ever like said, oh, hi, your circadian rhythm is now kicking in later.
It's like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Or I think through pregnancy, so many people who are pregnant have insomnia, and everything is shifting, and you might have someone who their whole life slept totally fine, and now all of a sudden it's a big issue.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And again, there's just so much. So I wish there was just like a magic fix or a magic pill. Like, but again, for the pregnant person, is it their body changing it? Is it their hormones? Are they craving sugar more? So now it's their blood sugar regulation. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Like, there's not anything specific that's like, oh, you're pregnant, you're going to have problems sleeping. This is what you do instead.
Yep.
Yeah. So individualized.
It's always like the puzzle to figure out like where it is that is going wrong.
Yeah. So can you give us, if you could have the most perfect, let's say 4 hours before you go to sleep to get the best night's sleep, walk us through, what does that routine look like? What does your room look like? Give us the full picture perfect Goldilocks breakdown.
So 4 hours is going a little long, actually.
We don't need 4 hours.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's shave it down.
Give us 2.
Yeah. So like basically, so if I go to bed at 10, so 4 hours would be 6 o'clock. Some people are still eating dinner. So, you know, I do recommend for pediatrics, so like, it is a good idea, fine, at dinner, right? Start dimming your lights. That's the first step, right? You want to...
He laughs because when you said a cave before, our house is always a cave from like 8 p.m. on. And he's like, why are all the lights on?
I hate it because I'm like we're still doing stuff.
We're settling down.
So, okay.
But...
And this is... I'll go back to the 4-hour question in a second, but... Another big myth is, or people are not aware of how much light affects our body and our brain.
Yes, see?
And our like sleepy hormone melatonin. So when you're getting the light from a screen or even from an overhead light, your body thinks it's the sun. Like, again, back to caveman days. Our bodies are biologically built to take in signals from the sun to tell us what time of day it is. Now, in our world of technology and advancement, you know, I work with people all the time, and I'll say, you know, avoid screens for 2 hours before bed. First of all, most people don't understand the reason why, and they're like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. But really, if you're looking at your screen, your phone, your computer, your TV to the lesser extent. TV is the least out of like those three things, the least offender. But the amount of light, it's telling your brain that it's midday. So it's noon. So, okay, at 9 o'clock at night, I'm staring at my phone. I'm also getting stressed out because I'm scrolling TikTok or I'm doing work. So I'm getting stressed out. So that's number one. 2, my brain is saying, it's noon. We have a long time. Melatonin, don't kick in. Don't worry. Don't get ready for bed yet. 10 o'clock comes. I'm like, I shut it off. I go to the bathroom, flick on my overhead light that's super bright. Again, my brain, it's midday, no worries. You're just probably going to the bathroom, no problem. Then I go into my bedroom, which it is dark. It's very dark. I lay down in bed, and my body's like, wait a minute, it's noon. Why are you laying down? What am I supposed to be doing right now? So then your body's not prepared. So definitely, you want to be mindful of like definitely you are going to be still doing things. Like I said, it's starting.
He's like, I can't see anything because there's my little salt lamp that's on and nothing else. I'm like, oh well.
So that is excellent for like the bathroom, and then like also like a red like nightlight or something. Yeah. But you know,
it's not enough for a larger space.
Right. So then like you don't need like a salt light. Like don't go that far, but like a table lamp versus an overhead like light.
Yep.
So that
Makes
way.
Biggest difference.
I feel like everybody's so recessed light heavy, and like table lamps are like
they're blinding.
Not like
around
people don't
anymore.
use them.
These lights are blinding to
and
me.
Even
And it's
like
midday.
and even like that type of light where it's still overhead, and that's like more common now. Like no one like has a table space or a table for lamps.
We need to bring them back.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, that table lamp, if the light is coming at your eyes from lower, your brain thinks it's sunset. So the light signal's hitting you from here, and it's dimmer. The light strength is dimmer than your devices. So it's thinking it's sunset. So then that's a little bit better because, again, it's around 6 o'clock. That's like sometimes sunset. So you definitely want to be mindful of your lighting. You don't have to go full black cave like at 6 o'clock, but definitely start like dimming it. And I always say, like, again, quieting the atmosphere. It doesn't have to be a library, but like, don't have a full blown like dance party in a club. Like, maybe just have like some low key music, like at a lower volume. And then, you know, me personally, I will still be doing my own children's bedtime during that time. And the biggest thing with that is to keep stress away from any sort of bedtime, because even if you're doing your child's bedtime and you're stressed, they feel it. So then it's affecting their bedtime. Yeah. So the biggest thing is to kind of, I guess, after dinner, but before any of the bedtime routine starts, is to work on your stress levels and do whatever it is for you that's going to help. If you're someone that, you know, going for a walk is going to help that in nature, that's great. That's also good light-wise to be getting natural symbols actually from the sun where it is. Yeah. If you're one that, you know, you need to rush around the house and finish all of your to-do lists before you head into the night to start winding down, then do that. If you're one that, you know, you like to have a journal or like a worry journal, do that. Whatever it is, get your stress out of the way before any of the bedtime routine starts, both for the kids and for yourself.
Love that.
And then, yeah, I just think, you know, like I said, I don't encourage computer or phone usage, but I personally do enjoy sitting down with my husband and watching a TV show. And as long as it's like far enough away, it's not as effective. And if I were to ever start having struggles, I am a strong believer in the amber tinted blue light blocking glasses.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I have had like a couple rough like nights where I'll lay down and my brain is racing, or like, you know, I'm not, and I'm like, oh, well, I still want to watch TV tonight, I'll just throw on my blue light blockers. And I do understand, like, because if my children are not allowed screen time after dinner, and again, this is the sleep coach in me, and I'm sorry, kids, but I'm not. Yeah. If they do want to have like a special movie night on the weekends, they know they have to wear their blue light blockers.
That's amazing. I saw your reel with that.
Yeah, and it is. It's
that
just
made me
like,
laugh.
And they like, and it is. It's like, okay, well, I do understand, like, it does change the picture color. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. You could go read in the other room or do whatever. But if you want a movie night, and they are. If I'm just like, you have to wear your blue light blockers, put them on. It's a lot different if I'm like, the TV is tricking your brain. It legit is tricking your brain to think it's daytime. So when you're going to lay down, it's just going to be harder for you. Yeah. And it's easier for them to like understand and be okay with it if they understand and it goes for everyone. Like if I'm telling my client no screens before bed for 2 hours, if I explain the knowledge and the science behind it, they're much more likely to follow through and be able to follow that guideline than if they just don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we're putting our phones away, only watching TV, but preferably not right before bed, and not in your bedroom.
Not in your bedroom.
What do we say, 65?
65 to 67, right, for adults?
67 degrees. Have a quiet, calm room.
Yes.
I love all these ideas because it's like we talked about. They're so practical that anyone can implement them. And I feel like they're simple. It's like going back to what you already know to do, but that we just forget to do so often.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Like I sound like broken record, but like you go back to the caveman days. Yeah. And like some technology and advancement is great, and that's great for our society. But some things like sleep, that's been around since the caveman days. Like you got to look at what they were doing.
Not great for sleep. Right. Yeah.
And so many people, like, you know, my job didn't exist like 30 years ago, but neither did the devices in our hand.
Well, even like back, you know, way back, like they didn't have even street lights outside, you know? So it's like,
candle lights.
Time to sleep.
If you're looking out your window, there's street light in our development, there's street lights.
That's everywhere,
Yeah. And like the same, like, so like with cavemen, they had fire, but the fire is lower and it's dimmer. So again, if they're looking in the fire at night, it's coming from low and it looks more like the sunset.
Yeah, right. It's not tricking their mind.
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, we have a fun rapid fire sleep edition. Do you want to ask the questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right, so we're just going to ask a question, and then you can just answer with whatever comes to mind first.
Okay.
Okay. So the most common adult sleep mistake.
I think this is the alcohol and the THC. I think thinking that's a sleep aid when it's actually a sleep sabotager.
Okay, a sleep myth that you wish would disappear.
I think around late bedtimes for kids. I think everyone just thinks that, their elementary school kid, first of all, they don't realize kids up until teenage years should not be getting 8 hours of sleep. They need much more. They need 10 to 12 hours. So that's pretty much the first myth, that kids need much more sleep than that we tend to say. And then because of that, their bedtimes need to be earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so, we kind of touched on this, but ideal bedtime routine in 3 steps.
Okay. We have to break it down to just 3.
Okay. So 3 steps, I would say having a timer go off on your phone so that you automatically know that it's bedtime and, you go to look at it. There's no notifications. You're like, oh, well, then I could put it down. Oh, reminder. Then I would say going into your bathroom to do like your normal bathroom stuff, brushing your teeth, washing your face, but make it like a spa-like atmosphere, like you said with the salt lamp. Like make it relaxing, peaceful, and dim. Because a lot of the times that bathroom, like the bathroom is an inevitable step before sleep, and that's something that really trips people up when you flip the overhead light on and it's so bright. So
They're always so bright in bathrooms.
Yeah, which is good during the day and you need to see.
Yeah.
But so definitely make it more like a spa-like experience in your bathroom, and then going in your bed. And I like the mindful breath work part of my bedtime routine. I lay there, and instead of having all of the things racing through my brain, oh, I didn't do the laundry, oh, the dishwasher's dirty, oh, the boys need this in the morning, I feel myself in my bed. I feel how comfortable it is. I feel my body drifting off to sleep, and I would say that's my last. And positive thoughts during that mindfulness and gratitude. Like, be happy that you have a safe place and a warm, comfortable bed to go to bed in. Not, oh, I have so much to do and I really should be up right now, or, oh, tomorrow is going to be awful. Like, don't go to bed thinking that. Go to bed thinking happy, peaceful, gratitude thoughts.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, naps, yes or no?
Yeah, well, I guess you already answered this, but
say yes.
You can answer again.
yes, and yes. Except the one caveat is if you are struggling with sleep and insomnia, it's hard to take naps. Then you need to get your sleep under control at night, and then maybe you could go back to naps.
Got it. Okay. All right. So now we have a true or false section. True or false? You can catch up. True or false? You can catch up on sleep on the weekends.
False.
Okay. True or false? Melatonin is the answer to most sleep issues.
So true and false. True, our natural body's melatonin production helps with a lot of falling to sleep issues. Over-the-counter melatonin, false. False and false.
Okay. True or false? Sleep training damages parent-child attachment.
False, unfortunately. And I feel for the parents that think that, but false.
Okay. True or false? Therapy and sleep coaching together is more effective than either alone.
Yes, definitely.
You have to say true to that.
Well, I know I love when I have the intake form, or if a specific, if a therapist is recommending someone to me, I love that immediately off the bat, because I know, one of my biggest jobs is being the cheerleader and the accountability coach.
Yeah.
And if I have a therapist already on the team to help me with that, then that's just a win-win.
Yeah. I love that. This was such a good conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, I love talking about sleep, so anytime.
Yes, I can't wait to go have a good night's sleep tonight.
I know,
I'm going to be thinking about all these things.
If anybody's listening that is struggling with sleep themselves, or maybe they have a kid struggling to sleep, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's just Goldilocks Sleep Solutions. There's a lot of S's in there. But I have a website, GoldillocksSleepSolutions.com. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, a little bit. But yeah, Goldilocks Sleep Solutions. Reach out on any of those forms, and we could set up a consultation, a phone, get to know me, see if we're the right fit. Like I said, my adult clients and teenage clients really need to be willing to make changes and put in the work. But if you're willing to do the hard work, I love to help.
Yeah. And on your Instagram, you have so many great tips and everything for people to read and go through. That can be really helpful too.
Yeah. Even like on my website too, I have just blogs that sometimes if that's all that you needed, then that I'm so happy to help you.
Yeah.
Just like again, so much about sleep is the knowledge and the education piece. Mm-hmm. So I try to write my blogs where, I'm sharing the knowledge. And if that's all that needed to fix your sleep, then perfect. We don't even need to talk. Like, just enjoy my blogs.
Yeah. Love that.
All
right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.